Hey guys, it is time for my first ever Ask Me Anything video. If you saw last week, maybe you didn't see it, but last week and this week, I posted a link to a Google form where you can anonymously submit questions because I know a lot of people don't want their name attached to whatever it is they're going to ask in the comments. So I thought, let me create a form so you guys don't have to give your email, you don't have to give a name, you can ask anything you want, say anything you want. And you guys came through. I think we have like almost 50 responses. It was like 45, 50 responses, somewhere around there. So thank you guys so much for doing that. And I'm going to try and do these once a week, either on a Friday or Saturday. So if you would like to submit a anonymous question or comment, you can do so in the description box. The link will be there for you. But just be known, if I don't mention something or you leave it multiple times and I don't talk about it, it could be because it's against YouTube's terms of service. So make sure you're very mindful of that when you leave it. Even if you disagree with me and you want to say, hey, I disagree with you, this is my thought and opinion, blah, 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 whatever, just make sure it follows YouTube's guidelines or I'm not going to be able to talk about it on the show. So there's that. So the description will have the link for the AMA list so you can go through and ask your question. Also, I'm really excited. I'm setting up a voicemail system so you guys will be able to call in and leave messages anonymously as well, and a call-in show, which I'm setting up to start in July, which will happen a couple times a month. So you guys will be able to sit here as I can take calls from people who agree or disagree with me. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, we're going to answer 5 of the questions. That's what these video series are going to be. I'm going to do 5 of them each time. So again, if yours isn't showing up here, it's probably because it's like not appropriate for YouTube. I've answered it before. Like if I've answered it before in another video, I'm not going to talk about it here, or it's something that I just don't think requires me to talk about. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the first one. You guys are going to see how this goes. Okay, so here's the first one. Do you think it will end, as in the Chuds? So do I think it'll ever come a time when we won't have Chud content on YouTube? And the answer to that is no. I don't think we'll ever reach a point on YouTube where there's no Chud content. I think there's always going to be a reason for these guys to make content, for them to be mad about stuff for whatever reason. I don't think, like, my goal, my personal goal isn't to end Chud content on YouTube. I think that's an unrealistic goal. Like, my point of my channel is to disrupt the algorithm so that YouTube may feel de-incentivized to keep promoting this kind of content, right? So they're not pumping it to the top of the search engine. They're not, putting premium ads on it, stuff like that. I would like for YouTube to not prioritize this kind of content, and that needs disruption. So by being in the algorithm or getting in the algorithm with those guys, you sort of disrupt that pipeline, and it makes it harder for them to dominate the search feature on YouTube. So that's kind of what I do with my channel. I know there's other people in the space that do it differently. They have a different approach. Some people do long form essay content or whatever. I try and pump out as much content as possible because that is what those guys do. And that is what is required to disrupt the path that they have to the top. But until YouTube enforces their own terms of service or de-incentivizes these guys with monetization, one way or another, whether it be premium ads or promotions or whatever, until that happens, this content is going to always exist. I know it sucks and you guys would love for me to be like, no, I think they're definitely going to go away. I don't think so. I think we're always going to have to deal with them. I just think the level and the amount, like the volume of chuddiness will probably get reduced at a certain point, but Chuds will never ever go away from YouTube. Thank you for your question. All right, so next up, do you like to play video games? If so, what kind of video games? So yes, I am a gamer. I play games every single day. I play video games every single day. My bread and butter, the one that I go to and play every day, is Final Fantasy XIV. It's a online RPG, and I love that game. I've been playing it since launch. I played it back before they had to relaunch the game. I started out on Final Fantasy XI. And I've played Final Fantasy games my entire life. So that's like at the top of my list of the kind of games that I like, is like the fantasy, science fiction type stuff, story-driven games. I really enjoy those. And fighting games like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, stuff like that. Fun fact, I used to travel around the country, myself and my brother and our friends used to travel around the country and play competitively in the 90s and early 2000s. And we usually ranked pretty high in the regional stuff. I never went to the nationals, my brother did, but we all played them competitively. We loved playing them. I'm a big gamer. I stay away from first-person shooters. I get like motion sickness, so those don't work for me. So something like Fortnite or Call of Duty, like in short bursts, I can kind of play with them. Like I'd love to play Marvel Rivals, but it gives me motion sickness, so I can't play it. But I like watching them, other people play them. I can't play them myself. That's when it kicks in and I'm start to feel sick. But other than that, yeah, I love fantasy games. I love Final Fantasy. I love a lot of story-driven games, things like that, like Baldur's Gate. Love Baldur's Gate. Shadow of the Colossus, things like that. I love those kinds of games. But first-person shooters, I'm out. Can't do it. Okay, so here's a really interesting one. What Chud would you most like to have a discussion with? And what would your first question be? Okay, to be completely honest, and I know this is going to be an answer that most people are not going to like to hear, I don't think there's any value in talking to any of them. Any of the big ones. The big channels we talk about, no value. You're talking about like Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, Jeremy Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Cannell, any of those guys. They are incentivized to do what they're doing. They are making money from doing it. So whether they're true believers or not, it does not benefit them to have a conversation with somebody across the aisle, which is why they don't really do it. It's why you don't see it happen. You don't see Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic and those guys inviting on opposing opinions regularly on their channels, simply because they just don't want to even have it around. The times they've had it happen on their channel, those people never come back on. They disappear. When you see them on Piers Morgan, you will see like when they get pushback, they don't really know what to say and do because it's kind of a script for them. Their entire thing is a script. So like asking them a question, you're just going to get sort of a pre-recorded answer from anything you ask them. And anything else is going to be intellectually dishonest. They're not going to give you a real answer. They're going to deflect or reverse it around on you or something like that. They're not going to give you like a proper answer. If there was somebody that I could talk to, I've talked to a few of them. Like I've gone on other streams and talked to a few of them there, like some of the mid-range like Chud channels. I've interacted with them before. We've talked before. So it's not like I've avoided them or I ran away or I wouldn't talk with them like if we end up in the same space. But I don't know if I would want to engage with the larger guys one-on-one because I just don't think it's going to be beneficial. So I don't even know what my first question would be, to be honest. Like if I'm asking them like, why do you do what you do, right? They do it for money. They're not fighting the culture war. They're really not. Because we've already established that a lot of stuff they do is surface level and things like that. So I wouldn't want to talk to any of these guys. I don't think there's any real value in engaging them. And I can assure you, most of them do not want to talk to me. Like I know my shit for them to want to engage with me because they would not be able to twist me or turn me in different directions. Like that wouldn't happen. There was a time a couple years ago where I'm like, I would never want to have a discussion with them because it'd be an uneven playing field and they'd probably like eat me for lunch. So I would never want to do that. You know, I always doubted myself in the back of my mind. I'm very confident now. Like I'm super confident, but I just don't think there's any reason to, right? Like, and I've said this before on the showcast. I just don't think there's any reason to engage with these guys. I feel like they are cultural brain rot and me being there in their space only gives them more ammunition for the stuff that they're already doing. So it's easier for me to just debunk and call out the content they're making than to engage with them. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I just don't think there's any value in having conversation with the larger channels when we know they're doing it for the money. Okay, so this one made me laugh. It goes, would you be a DJ at a Comicskate meet and greet party someday? Please play Rocky M Disco Lady for me. So, I don't know if Comicskate is in the market for like a gay house music DJ. I don't know if that's something that they're looking for. And I'll be honest, I mean, even though I know people in Comicskate and we have interacted on streams and stuff like that, and we have like cordial conversations and whatnot, I don't necessarily think that it's a good fit, right? I don't think it's a good fit. Not only would it be like a situation where they would have to decide to hire a gay DJ to come work their event. Which does Comicskate have like live DJs at their events? I don't even know if they do or not, to be honest. I've never even looked into it. But no, I don't think, even if we're cordial to each other in spaces, I don't think our views align enough for it to make any sense for me to be there, for them to even ask me. So I don't think so. If you want to come to a gay bar and have a seat and listen to me play music and watch a drag show, then, come on in. I appreciate the question, and I'll play some Disco Lady for you at the club later tonight when the drag queens are performing. Okay. I think this is number 5. I kind of lost track as I was going through because I've answered a few of them and I'm not going to use all of them for the video. So I think this is number 5. We'll see. By the way, I also want to point out, you guys leaving your name, just know that that's great. I appreciate it 100%, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to be caught in the crossfire or whatever, or maybe your name isn't your screen name. Anyway, Jose, we're going to read your comment here. First, I want to wish you a happy and safe Pride Month. It's been good so far. I've been working a lot of gigs, been doing a lot of shows. The community's been really strong. This weekend is crazy. This is our Pride weekend here in this area. So all of our big events are happening this weekend, tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. So I'm really excited about that. Anyway, second, I know there's a chance you may talk about it on stream, but just in case you don't, I wanted to ask you if you saw the news outlets like CBS and Variety did not mention the allegations that the man who murdered Jonathan Joss was yelling homophobic slurs at him and his husband. I hope this will be corrected, but I don't have high hopes for it. So initially, after it all happened, I know they came out and said they were not investigating it as a hate crime, but since then, I've heard some conflicting reports that they have actually started investigating it for that reason. Let me check and see what the follow-up is on this so I can make sure I'm giving you accurate information. So initially, the police chief said there was no evidence whatsoever of this being a hate-motivated crime. However, they have confirmed now that the sexual orientation of Joss was part of the ongoing investigation. So it is being sort of investigated as a hate crime, even though they're trying not to make that super public. The accused neighbor, Sigfrido, posted the $200,000 bail and is now under house arrest pending a pretrial hearing on August 19th. Authorities are examining the history of disputes, including a serious January fire at Joss's home, multiple neighbor complaints, over 60 calls since 2023, and prior arson and shooting reports. Local groups like Pride San Antonio and Native American advocates held forums and vigils demanding accountability and increased transparency, citing systemic neglect of LGBTQ and indigenous safety issues. The pretrial hearing is August 19th, 2025, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. And they're still investigating stuff. They don't know what the motivations were. They haven't determined if it was going to be a hate crime or not. I mean, none of that seems to be, prevalent at the moment in terms of like information that's out there. But we'll, whatever happens with that, I'm sure I'll bring it up on one of the Nerdcasts or something like that. Anyway, thank you so much for your question. I think that's number 5. If I miss one, I'll add one to the next stream. All right, with that being said, if you would like to submit a question for me to answer or talk about, go down in the description box. The link will be there. Sometime next week, I'll be releasing the numbers so you can call in and actually leave voicemail questions if you want, anonymously as well. And then the call-in show will start sometime in July. Anyway, thank you guys so much for all the submitted questions. Again, there was like 40-something, I think it was like 45-ish questions. I definitely couldn't get to all of them today, but I will continue to go through them and answer them every week. So you'll get these videos on Friday or Saturdays. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. It's going to be a very busy weekend for me. It is our local Pride weekend, so I don't know how much content's going to come out between now and Monday. Maybe I'll do some shorts. Maybe I'll live stream when I'm out at some of the Pride events over the weekend. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you turn on the notification bell. And with that being said, I'm out of here. Everybody have a safe weekend, and I'll see you back on Monday.